After over 25 years of marriage, we've learned that successful couples have great friendships, put each other first, and focus on light just as much as love. We believe marriage should be fun and easy.
Our goal is to share our journey with the hopes of helping others build strong, happy relationships. Join us as we continue to create our lives beyond I do.
I say I have the owner's manual for men and for women. So if you're a woman and want to be in a relationship with a man and understand what motivates us, why we do the things that we do, the things that make no sense to you, that we seem to be so attached to, and so put so much energy in, right? I say cross the bridge into men world. I call it gender intelligence. If you want to be in a relationship with a man and you're a woman, cross the bridge, go learn. That's what I teach, by the way. All right? What motivates men, why they do what they do. And you know what's fantastic is when women learn this, 50% of everything that you take personally as a woman falls off.
We are not marriage counselors, nor are we mental health professionals. We're just simply sharing y'all how we navigated through our marriage. Now, on with the show.
Welcome back to the Beyond I Do podcast. We have a special guest with us that we are interviewing today. His name is André Paradis of ProjectEquinox.net. He is a certified relationship dynamics coach. Educator of effective communication strategies. Certified NLP coach. Public speaker. 2-time Amazon bestseller, and
also an ordained minister.
So he gets couples. He has some couples that he worked with through the beginning of their relationship and got to marry them in the end. Which, by the way, you know that in our home state, as a notary, I can marry couples. I'm just saying, I can marry them. We can have you and the baby singing.
We can do that.
Keep that in mind, y'all.
All right.
Y'all can have a Beyond I Do ceremony, but back to why we're here. We had a very interesting conversation.
Yes, very eye-opening as far as the relationship between man and woman and how each individual thinks. Very different.
Different communication styles.
Different ways of thinking, for sure.
We ask that you keep an open mind as you listen. Ladies.
Gonna step on some toes now.
Ladies, keep an open mind. We also have a special opportunity. Andre has graciously offered to come and do a live Q&A session. After we post this episode. So... ladies, as you listen with your open mind, your open ears, and open heart to receive, write down any questions, comments, or concerns that you have, and you hold on to those so that you can address them live with Andre.
And fellas, write them down too now, if you got any questions too.
And we will have more information about that at the end of the episode. So, we also have some goodies that he's offered for free. We'll tell you more about that at the end. But for now,
on to the episode.
So my name is André Paradis. I'm in Los Angeles, California. I'm a relationship coach. I'm an NLP practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming. It should be called neuro-linguistic reprogramming. This is how I release trauma from my client's nervous system. I can't get anybody in a healthy relationship until we clean up your nervous system, right? Like release your baggage from your past, childhood, and on forward, essential. And I'm also an educator of effective communication strategies. But in my world, right, where there's love relationships, familial relationship, or business relationships, the communication is what we are struggling with the most, and we don't know why.
Right.
And so I decode this for people. Like the biggest thing is men on men communicate a certain way that we communicate. we know what we're saying, but man and woman, woman to man, we don't realize that we have two different filters on each side. So what I say is what he hears, but that's not what you hear.
Right.
And what you say to us is not what we hear, right? It's we're saying it's not what we're hearing. So, and it sounds crazy because, like, you know, we speak English, you look in my eyes, you hear the words I'm coming out of my mouth. We're not communicating, right? Because we do it different styles, but we don't even know that. And so that's caused for a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, you know, in love dynamic, sometimes anger. Also with business relationships, right? Like men and women miscommunicating at work is a huge problem.
Right.
And so HR has to be involved, and nobody knows really what happened or how to just saying. So that's a big part of my work, my favorite part of my work. I have scripts that I teach my clients. How do you negotiate your wants and needs respectfully, not as a command or a demand, because that men don't respond to that at all. So what works as opposed to what doesn't work. How do you ask for adjustment? Because again, if you ask directly, it sounds like a command and demand. So as a woman, I don't know if you've noticed this, and it sounds so terribly crappy, but if you ask for your man, or really any man, directly, you know, for more, better, different, anything, you know, more, better, different, like I want more time together, we don't have, like, whatever. The moment you lean into that way, you would notice that you get less.
Right.
Not because we're jerks, it's because men don't respond to that.
Right.
So then what's the language? I call it Manglish. I teach the ladies Manglish. Like, what's the language to invite him to change, to invite him for support, to invite him to spend more time, as opposed to telling him. One doesn't work, the other one works beautifully because you tap into his instinct to provide, to fix, right? To be a hero. But again, we don't understand the language is where all the difference is when it comes to getting what we want from both sides. So it's profound.
How do you, and so we're going to jump right in because that struck a nerve for me.
Ooh, cool.
No, not in a bad way. But I was going back and forth. I don't want to say that. We weren't going back and forth online, but there was a post and a woman said something her husband was doing. And I said, you know, men and women, we're wired differently. And you can't expect him to respond the way that you're saying this. And someone responded and said, well, that's a double standard. So how do you, when you're explaining to your clients or to potential clients, to women, the what you just said, you can't say it that way. It needs to be stated this way. How do you explain it? Has nothing to do with a double standard. It's how we filter things.
Well, they're kind of that way. And another way that what's really unpopular out there right now, right? Everything's 50-50, everybody's equal. Well, yes, but no. But yes, but no, equally important, but we're not the same, right? That's what it kind of became. This men is supposed to be more like women and women more like men. No, that's like denying nature and our essence completely as men and women, right? So when I talk about things like this, I always refer back to, you know, there's a way to, you know, let me give you an example. So, because people say sometimes, like, was that manipulative? You know what I mean? Is that manipulative to, like, kind of use Manglish to get your way with man? I go, well, let me put it this way, right? So if you always wanted to have a 5-star, 7-course meal, you know, in Paris at the 5-star restaurant, but the waiters and the staff only speaks French, what are the chances of you messing up the order? Right? Would that make sense to speak French and understand at least how to order in French so you get what you want?
Right.
Is that manipulation or is that just smart? That's what I say. Right. So, and the other thing that's not popular out there is people have like everybody's equal, so stereotypes are toxic. You know, double standards are toxic. I'm like, no, stereotypes exist because they exist.
Right.
There is such thing as men things and girl things.
Right.
Chick flick and dude flicks, right? Like girl car and man car. I mean, seriously, a stick shift 5 Series BMW is a dude's car, and a Mazda Miata is a girl car, and everything else in between. I get it, but there's things that are different and stuff that we like that you don't like, and vice versa. Those are stereotypes. So we could fight this all day long, and you could call it unsexy or, you know, whatever. It's just, this is how things are. So we could
Right.
deny everything that is, or we could just go, look at that. How do we work this together?
Right.
Yes.
I thought about it the other day after that exchange, and I was like, a lot of times, a lot of the requests that women are making, or the demands that they're making, you want your husband to think and respond like you,
Yeah.
but you want him to be the provider and the protector.
Yeah.
So you're asking him to be two different things in one person.
Want him to be soft punk.
Right. Or you want him to lead, but you won't take his leadership.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is how you destroy everything, right? Like,
right. At some point, you have to decide which
Right.
do you want.
right.
So that was, you said something about the difference in communication, and when I said that to her, she said, no, that's a double standard.
No, it's a fact, right? It's a fact. There's different ways to operate, and this is, you have to learn what works. I was on a podcast last week. It was hysterical because I do 3-4 a week, right? Because I'm spreading the word and the hope, and there's ways to do this in a healthy way, and it's in modern culture. Relationships are like you guys, right? And mine, my wife, like, they're beautiful and flowy, and we get everything we want. And how do we get it to work out, right? We understand the dance. Everything in my life is about the dance. But I'm dealing with these two ladies who, one's a therapist, and they're very, very righteous. Like, they just know better than anybody. Whether they do or not, that's their attitude. And the other one was a feminist, So now I typically could maneuver these just fine, because what I teach is nature, it's science, biology, and psychology. It's not my opinion, right? There's a reason we operate differently, we think differently, we process information and feelings differently. Okay, so again, stereotypes? No, nature.
Right.
So, and the fact is, we're completely separate and different on purpose. That's the yin yang of us coming together. Anyway, so these two ladies, I'm explaining about men. Something came up about, because in my world I call it 4 types of men. There's boys, guys, men, and gentlemen. Gentlemen and men tend to be a great version of the other one, but like, boys are to be avoided at all costs. Guys are stuck in the middle with the culture, and men are just men, right? So we're talking about that kind of stuff, and as I'm describing what a natural masculine man wants, needs, what they're focused on, what motivates them in the world is to be competitive, to push through their fears, push through their insecurities, right? So a natural male was going to push through all this to build himself up, builds his character, builds his confidence. Typically comes with success, where now they go, wow, now I can take care of a wife and kids, right? That's what masculine men are driven by, right? As I'm explaining this mechanism, I'm a man, right? Byron's a man. He understands exactly what I'm talking about. So these two, one feminist, one therapist, is like, well, I don't think that's true. I'm like, what do you mean you don't think that's true? Like, this is how it works. Again, not the boys, right? Because everybody's different. Of course, everybody's different, but there's streaks. There's different types of temperament in people. Boys are not like this. Guys are kind of like this, but soft. Men are like this. This is how men pride themselves. That's how they get on top, and that's how they get self-respect and respect from the world. They have to produce something that they're proud of. The harder it is, the more respect they get, and the more self-esteem they get, right? I don't think that's true. Men aren't like that. I'm like, well, I just said not men aren't like that, but masculine man, the ones that you want, the one who provide, protect, cherish, give, support, lead, pay, I'm going to say it again, pay for everything. This is what they do. Yeah. They have it together, right? I don't think that's true. I'm like, so as a woman, you're telling me as a man that I don't know anything about men, but you're doing better. I'm like, okay, and this is the end of this interview. And it was really quickly. It was stupid. It was absolutely stupid. So
you're talking to a brick wall at that point.
Well, again, the self-righteousness also of like, and I encounter this quite a bit. I teach this to my clients. Like, it's so different the way we think, the way we process, the way we communicate. Like, everything is it's not Mars and Venus. It's 2 different galaxies. It's not even a little bit the same, right? But we kind of don't really get that. So I see women, I teach them about men. They go, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well, it doesn't have to make sense, right? And I'll say, like, if you want a man to respond, do this or say this. And they go, why would that work? That makes no sense. I'm like, you're not a man. You're not a man. How would you like to stop? Like, your way is not working. Try my way, because I'm giving you the owner's manual here, right? And every time they go, doesn't make any sense, or why would that work? I love the teeth sucking out of it. Like, is it? That's all, you know. And I go try it. Just forget when you think about it, forget how you feel about it. Go try it. And they come back a week later or two. They're like, why did that work? I don't understand. Why did that work? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Does it matter? It works. Just do what works. Right?
I say all the time, ladies, men are very simple and we're stupid. It's not a put down, but it's just simple. So the problem is they're trying to think like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't fall for it. I can't even compute how that works in my mind. Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's going to work on your man because he's simple thinking. It's not complex, but complex because that's
it's different. So I want to say I used to talk like you, and I tweaked it a little bit because men are simpler, not simple. Okay. Because everything we do confuses the hell out of them. That is not simple. That is not simple to them. Like, well, how he does it? He never. I ask, he do it. Like, so to them, we're not simple. We're actually very frustrating, right? But you understand, we're simpler because we're not motivated by our feelings. We tend to be more logical. We're more grounded for that reason, right? We kind of tend to steady up energy as opposed to being in the chaos of right. The masculine. There's a very good expression. The masculine holds, like, it's like a river, right? The masculine is the riverbed, the feminine is the water, right? And the feminine can be the water as long as the masculine holds the frame. Like, so again, it's a yin yang of what works. Mm-hmm. So what are we fighting here, right? So understanding we're simpler, yes, but we're not simple to them. So my work is about, I think I share that with you guys. I say I have the owner's manual for men and for women. So if you're a woman and want to be in a relationship with a man and understand what motivates us, why we do the things that we do, the things that make no sense to you, that we seem to be so attached to, and so put so much energy in, right? I say cross the bridge into man world. I call it gender intelligence. If you want to be in a relationship with a man and you're a woman, cross the bridge, go learn. That's what I teach, by the way. Right? What motivates men, why they do what they do. And what's fantastic is when women learn this, 50% of everything that you take personally as a woman falls off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a different life right there. Just when you understand, he's a man. So he's not controlling me. He's protecting us. Like, all the stuff that gets on your nerve, all of a sudden it's like, look at my hero. Look at my guy go, right? So I say the same to men. I mean, if you want to be in a relationship with a woman and stop scratching your head, pulling your hair out and think she's nuts, because that's how we experience you a lot. You complain that we're cold and distant and selfish, and we complain that you're crazy, right? That's just the old back and forth because we're different machines. You're not crazy. We're not cold and selfish. We're men and women, right? Mm-hmm. So I say for men who want to be in a relationship with a woman and learn to dance, the dance of relationship. My entire life is about dancing. The metaphors are fantastic. Cross the bridge into a woman world, dude. Come and learn, because when she says stuff, that's what confuses us. One of the things that confuses us is why you take everything personally. That's not what I said. That's not what I meant. That's not at all what I did. That's not at all what I was trying to do. That's not at all that we're constantly defending ourselves because you take it personally. You made something out of it, right? That freaks us out completely. Like it makes you look, right? And sometimes in those moments, you kind of feel like you're crazy yourself, right? So that's one thing. Like, take everything personally. My other thing is, well, how do you find the best out of her? Right? Using her instinct. We don't understand that. One of the things that men really can confuse is women who say all the time, I need so very little. How come you can't give me what I need? I need so very little, right? A little touch, a little affection. But you have to understand, a man's brain, we don't understand little. We quantify everything. Right. We quantify, right? Look at this, shaking his head. He's right. So big effort, big reward. Big work, big money. One flower, 12 is better.
Yeah.
You quantify everything, but it doesn't work like this for you ladies. It's the thought that counts. Absolutely. It's the gesture, it's the fact that he was thinking about me when I wasn't there. That's flattering, right? That's the connection for you. So we say small stuff, and we're like, I don't freaking know what that. And so I teach men this. This is why, she needs this. This is what she needs, the connection. She needs the communication. She needs to feel that you like her almost on a daily basis. We don't think that way, right? Men will say to me, I don't understand. I married her. Like, what else can I do? Right? Seriously, it sounds terrible. We're like, it's crass, but I married her. What else is she? Because she'll come back with, I don't think you love me, right? You just spend too much time at work. It's like, I married you. I come home every night and I pay for everything. What's the problem? Not understanding her instincts, her need to connection, conversation, to be touched, to be looked into her eyes and talked to a little bit every day. Like, a woman needs that kind of reassurance. We, again, thinking big, married her, right? And also falls into our models of relationship maintenance. So, as a woman, you know this, that, in order to keep your girlfriends, you have to, connect with them and talk to them all the time. At least once a week or so, right? Depending on the relationship you have and how important she is or how close she is in your life. But a woman, you have to maintain your relationships. You have to check in and go, so how's he week? How's little Bobby? How's he going, right? How's the clown? Like, you do this constant check it in, because that's how you show love and attention and kindness. And this is part of being in a relationship, woman to woman, right?
Yes.
That's not what we do. That's not how we do it. And I'll give you an example. My buddy from high school, and seen him for 15 years, flew back to Montreal, made a plan, got together, gives me goosebumps. So happy to see him, right? He's my boy. Not nuts, this is my boy from high school. Like, we were survive a lot of stuff together. 15 years apart, never talk to each other, never text each other, right? Just boom, back together. Dude, like, no time's gone by.
Yeah.
Byron, you know what I'm talking about, right? Men know this. So we require zero maintenance to sustain our relationships. Zero. You're my boy in my heart forever. When we get together, you think he said to me, dude, I didn't hear from you for my birthday and Christmas and New Year's, and like, this is ridiculous. We don't do that.
Like, then it's crazy. Like, what's wrong with you?
Stupid. It's stupid, right? Now, to us, so again, the yin yang, right? So she needs connection. We made a decision to commit. It's done. No, we have to be in the middle, right? You have to sustain that. And again, we don't necessarily understand that. That's why men say, I married her, right? I married her. What else does she want? She needs. So again, understanding each other, right? Men, gender intelligence. Learn about women if you're a man, learn about men if you're a woman. And then you could actually meet on the bridge and learn to dance.
Right.
Yes.
You're not going to know everything off the top, but it's the practicing that you get to. In the beginning, you step on each other's toes, and you get this clunky, and it gets smoother, and it gets smoother. And this is what I talk about, like communication style. How do you ask for adjustment? How do you understand that he's not controlling because he's a pig, that he's actually protecting all the time? That we're never without that, by the way, right? And often it comes off like, I'm a grown woman, I don't need that. When I tell my wife she's not going to the store at 11 o'clock at night in Los Angeles because we need milk tomorrow, and I'm about to get in the shower, you're not going to the store. Is that controlling? It's controlling as hell. But what am I doing?
Keeping her safe.
I'm protecting her, right? Now she could say, well, the kids need to stop. No milk. We'll figure something else. We'll use orange juice. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to the store, and you're not going to the store. I'm about to get in the shower, right? So that kind of stuff, often women, I'm a grown woman, you can't tell me what to do. Well, somebody has to lead the house, and somebody has to support the system, right? So that's, again, the yin-yang. Yeah. So, my background is in dancing. Again, behind me is my wife and I ballroom dancing.
It's beautiful.
Awesome.
So now this is a perfect metaphor for relationships.
Right.
As men and women in this, we're not equals. We're not the same.
Right.
We're complementary, right? What we bring is different, but together, magic. Do you know what I mean? So my job as a lead is to lead her. However, as a lead, this, as a woman, like as a lead, I could overlead you. I could be a pig. I could be harsh. I could now, if we're talking about dancing, I could actually twist her shoulder. I could hurt her.
Right.
If I lead without considering the fact that she's in my arms, right? So I could be a bully. No. So I have to lead for her to want to dance with me.
Right.
It's the relationships again. For her to want to dance with me, I have to lead. She respects that, but with sensitivities.
Yes.
In a dance, like it's in our fingers, right? Like the way I pull and respond, and the way I pull, that she gets it, right? Then I release this, she gets it, and there's a lot of fine tuning into the way we communicate without words with our fingers, with our hands, with the spinning, the holding a shoulder blade to pull her my way, and for her to push it into it. Like this is all like instantaneous sort of leadership, but I have to lead with sensitivity so I don't hurt her. Right. Now, when I do that she could trust that she's not going to get hurt, whether I crank her shoulder or spin her into a wall or a table, or right, like this, because she's vulnerable to my leadership. Right. So her role is to be vulnerable to my leadership, right? And for strong women, is very, very scary. And I always say it takes a very strong woman to allow herself to be vulnerable. There's something magical there, right? So, and with that trust in me that she's not going to get hurt, she can release control. Yes. And as she releases control, right, she's in charge of nothing but like her side of the frame kind of thing, right? She can let go of anything to be managed, which is feminine. And guess what happens? No one's looking at me. She gets all the glory because she shines like a beautiful beacon of, she laughs, she squeals, she's happy, right? She's just in the moment allowing me to take her on a little adventure on the dance floor for that song, or, she loves it. I love it. I like to lead, even though I'm working all the way through. I'm proud of that as a man. Right. And she gets to let go, relax, be feminine, have fun, and be in charge of nothing, which is the feminine, right? And again, she gets all the glory, and I don't care that I don't get any glory. I like to make her shine, right? That's relationships. That's a marriage. That's two different pieces coming together under God, right, to create relationships, a marriage.
Love that.
That's nice.
I love that.
That's how it works. So I don't know what we're fighting. Again, this is why I say 50-50 doesn't work, because it deletes all this. Equality doesn't work. It deletes all this, right? That's not how it works. It works for work stuff, not for relationship stuff. Oof.
Do you and your partner want to learn simple ways to grow closer?
Do you and your partner want to grow happier together?
Do you and your partner want to be a unified front?
Do you and your partner want to divorce-proof your marriage?
If you answer yes to these questions, you need to check out our book, Unlock It Forever, 10 Keys to a Successful Marriage Beyond I Do.
Each section focuses on a different aspect of marriage and briefly describes how we handled it in our relationship. At the end of the section, you're given an action step or key to complete with your partner.
These keys are practical steps you can immediately implement in your relationship and help you and your partner be proactive and intentional about your relationship.
You can purchase your copy on Amazon.com.
And until next time, we will holler at y'all.
Sounds good.
Did I just go off? Was that?
No,
I
love that metaphor. Good. I love that because, like you said, when you're watching ballroom dance, especially, no one's watching you. To her.
Remember the guy, a lot of times the guy would wear the black or dark tux.
Yep.
The lady would be in a shiny gown.
Glitter, fringes, colors.
Paying attention.
I love that.
Paying attention to the way the diamonds or the she's wearing the dress sparkles as the light turns and things.
Yeah. Now, a feminine men would say, "How come she gets all the glory?"
Show up in
you know what I mean? Because that's what I call boys. That's what I call boys. They're feminine and they don't understand, like they want the attention, they want the cuddling, they want the. It's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? But so we don't understand that in nature, we do, but we forget that we're the same. In nature, everything is polarized. Right? One side cannot exist without the other side. That's this black and white, there's yin yang, there's up and down, there's masculine and feminine, there's positive magnet, negative magnets. Everything in nature is polarized. Everything that grows, multiplies, flourishes, animals, nature, plants are all polarized. There's an opposition that come together to create a new life. Right? Yeah. So that's part of the stuff we forget when we talk about equality and all kind of stuff. Polarization is where the juice is. And when we neutralize men and women together, it goes flat, falls apart. There's no energy. There's no energy. People are like, we drew apart. No, you neutralize each other, right? So what's terrible in my world is that when a woman is, I call it ego dystonic. This is a therapy word, ego dystonic, which means inside out, because we both have masculine and feminine, each one of us. But as a woman, if you get it lined up with the essence of your bodies, you want to be, your body's feminine, right? And your core is more masculine, the yin yang of your body and soul, right? Man, our strength is on the outside, our softness on the inside. So there's never going to be a man as tough as a girl inside. It's never going to be a woman as sensitive as a man inside. What? Think about that. Yin yang, right? But in the realm of the relationship, if a woman is ego dystonic, which means she's stuck in her masculine, right? Typically from childhood, bad daddy, no daddy, never felt safe in her life, so she had to man up at 5, 6, 7 years old, and this allowed her to slip into her feminine to be able to do both, right? She's stuck in her masculine. When women are stuck in their masculine per tragedy or life circumstances, are you ready? This polarity is nature that'll kick you in the head, right? To prove its point. When you're a masculine woman, you only attract feminine men.
Wow.
Polarity.
Yeah.
So if you're ego dystonic, if you're masculine woman, you only attract feminine men. These are the guys who don't want to work. These are the guys who don't want to pay. They don't want your babies. They don't want to marry you. They don't want responsibilities. They want you to work. Go, girl, get that promotion. While he's on the couch spooning the dog, smoking a joint. They're the ones who want to be comfortable.
Right.
Well, she works. So masculine women only attract feminine men, and they think that's man. Ladies, no. It's your energy. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, right? But it has to be, if you want to attract a masculine man, you have to slip into your femininity. And for some of those that has been knocked out of them since the age of 5, this part of the work is to recalibrate you and recultivate your feminine energy so you can actually be in line with your body and your essence, and then shine like a woman, and then all of a sudden magnetize masculinity. Right? It becomes a magnet to masculinity, but also women will nicer to you when you're lovely and feminine and happy and joyful. Kids, little kids smile and dogs come sniffing. I mean, it's a magnet. It's nature. So that's the work, right? If you're stuck in your masculine and you're struggling and men don't see you, men don't like you, man, you're invisible to man, you're the man.
Right.
Energetically. And men just really don't respond to that. You're invisible.
Yeah.
So to switch back, and in my world, because then women say stuff like, well, I spent 15 years of my life building my career. Do I have to throw all that away? I'm like, no. So you build this, that's beautiful, and it got you tilted, right? We just cultivate this other side so you know how to do both. And in my world, a true boss, right? A true, go girl is a woman who knows, right? She can bring her masculine to work to get stuff done, right? But then after work, there's a girl in the space. There's a woman in the world. There's a feminine essence, right? So the way I put it is a little bit crass, but the way I put it is, ladies, everybody's been raised to be masculine nowadays. The past 50 years, we'll raise all of you to be strong, independent, powerful. It's all masculine. It's a struggle. And I say you could be all that all day long. However, when you're done with work, here it goes. Are you ready? Leave your balls at work. Because they don't take their balls off, right? Because it becomes a habit, it's a lifestyle. Right. So what happened is you're a boss and you go on a date and you put your balls in my face. That's not going to work. Not for the masculine man. A feminine man would go, girl, she's going to work her ass off for me. Sure, you're fantastic, you go, girl, right? Do you know what I mean? So you leave your balls at work. You cannot show up with that energy. I don't care what you do. I don't care how much money you're making. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care about your degrees, your freaking masters. It don't freaking matter, because if I'm a man, I have all that.
Right.
I don't need anything from you. I have all that. I'll take care of you. happily take care of you as you bring the support so I can continue making the whole thing work, right?
I think there's part of the misconception with that is, so as my husband, when I decided I wanted to go to school, I wanted to go to graduate school, I wanted to do all these things, he supported that. And that's not what you mean when you're saying no one cares, like a man doesn't care about that. It's not you don't care. It's just that in that context of, like, we're not comparing the size of our balls is what, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I think that's where some women misunderstand, because like I said, he's my biggest cheerleader, and anything I want to accomplish, he's there and he's supportive. But he also knows that I respect him as the head of the household, and I understand my role and my place in our home, and I let him lead. I let you. You're welcome.
Most of the time.
I let you.
Well, I tell you what I see is this version of what you just said. I'll say it differently and kind of more like what's out there kind of thing, right? Because often in the household, the dynamic that we have to negotiate it and create it. The stuff that I do in my marriage that would be considered more feminine. I cook. I'm French, right? And some of the stuff that she does could be considered more masculine, right? She takes care of the money and the bills. Okay, now we could flip that, but I mean, the part is she's better at this, I'm better at this. So so that's the So in the household, in the relationships within, there's all kinds of variety of this or variants of this, right? You have to negotiate the things that you're interested in and the things you're not interested in, both sides. And then we have an agreement, right? Cool, we're clear, let's go. I'll take out the trash.
Right.
You put the chicken on the stove. Love it. So, but no, get this. What I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want to make my point because it piggybacks on Margaret's point. Is that what I see a lot is women nowadays, because they were raised to be strong, independent, and powerful, value themselves. No, hold on. Yes, they value themselves in the same way that they value men. So women look for strength, for experience, for resources, for to protect right. So all the stuff to have a degree, to have some money, to have a career, all that stuff is what women go. Wow, look at him go, right? Women look at a man's future and go, these are good candidates. Do you know what I mean? So for men, it's different. But women, I'm telling you, I hear this every day. I have a degree, I have a job, I have a car, I have a business, I make and why? And the guys are like, so,
right? Because
women value themselves. So they were taught that in our culture to value themselves for the same things that make men valuable. That's knowing nothing about men. That's what I teach, right? And because you're missing the boat completely. When you're in boss babe mode. Balls in my face, it's masculine, it's irritating, it's off-putting, and masculine men will have nothing to do with that. They will walk away from you without saying hi. We'll pick it up right away, like, one of those, walk away. Yeah. And then that's why everyone struggle. Nobody wants to date me. How come I have everything? I'm no trouble. You're not a man. But you show up like a man, you think that makes you valuable as a woman. It doesn't. That's not what makes you valuable. It's exact opposite of that is you're feminine, glorious, warmth, radiance that pulls us in. And then the feminist movement have taught ladies that's useless, that's pointless, it's not powerful. It's the most powerful thing in the world.
Right.
Your superpower is your femininity because it brings us down to our knees. We'll do anything you want. I always say this, if I was a girl, I would rule the world because I know how this works.
Right.
It's not weak. It's super powerful, right? It's an inspiration to step up, and it's an inspiration to provide and protect. It's an inspiration to works for me, works for you. So, again, men don't value women for their degrees, their masters, their money, right? We just don't. The masculine men don't. He has his own. He wants you to relax, pull back, let work less, be present, be his strength, be his warmth, be his peace.
Right.
That's the exact opposite of all that.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the culture, we raise women to be strong and powerful, and they want to and they struggle, and they don't know why, because they're doing everything right. It's not their fault.
Yeah,
But you see it, right?
Exactly how, everybody, it was this young fella. I say young fellas, he's passed on now. His name was Kevin Samuels.
Oh God, I love that man. I love that man.
And everybody like, oh, he just talks to women so crazy, and it's like you're not listening to what he's saying.
Right.
He's saying the exact same thing that you were saying. It's not that, I don't look at her and think about her degrees. I don't think about none of that. I think about loving her as a woman. How am I going to take care of her?
Mm-hmm.
She has the degrees. I don't. I work in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think about her degrees. I think about how are we going to be able to accompany each other, or
come together, right? Your strength.
I don't even think about it.
Because her strength,
special. I don't even care. I don't even think about that.
Totally, So your strength and her strength are different, and they come together to build a relationship, a marriage, right? So there's masculine and feminine in that, and it's everything in between, like you just talked about, right? Like stuff that she does that she's better at, or right, but it's not. She doesn't use that as a weapon to control you, right? Because it's usually what happens. Women who are strong, independent, powerful decide they're in charge, and they have a hard time being vulnerable. They're scared to death, actually, of being vulnerable, and they want to control and lead everything. Well, try that with a masculine man. Again, those guys won't even look at you. They will not even look at you. They won't be polite. They won't say hello. They're just like, That's important to know, and it's not your fault. Again, it's nobody's fault. It's just the way the system is, and we lie to women about what's important for men.
And I think it's important, too, as a woman to understand that doesn't take away from the respect, the love. It doesn't take away from it. It's just the things that are valued, that men value in women are different. Because I think that's what happens. I think that because we're taught to be strong, independent, able to take care of yourself, don't depend on a man, we're taught those things. So when you are in a relationship and you're trying to unlearn those things, they'll pop back up, or if trouble happens, they'll pop back up, and you'll think, okay, now I see where this is coming from. Or you have people who enter into that relationship with the wrong person, or for the wrong reasons.
Right.
And so they become proof that, see, if she had had this, then it wouldn't have happened that way. Well, she probably shouldn't have been with him, if we're honest.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there that women have taken as truth, honestly, because of their situation or because of what they've seen others experience.
Right. And again, the idea is like, that's why I talk about trauma release, because a lot of women are traumatized in childhood. A lot of men who are boys are traumatized in childhood. Mm-hmm. They've been castrated by what happened to them as little boys, with all kinds of stuff that could tell you crazy stories that I hear make your hair this curly. Oh wait, yours already is. Never mind. But no, seriously, like it's that the childhood stuff is deadly, and often what happened is it's kind of ridiculous. When I get to heaven, I want to have a conversation, because that's messed up. Because what happened is childhood happens. Nobody gets out of childhood unscathed, right? So between the age of 5, 6, and 7. As we become conscious, right? Like when we come online, literally, so we can think, right? And kind of process what's around us, right? Typically 5 is when we wake up, we come online. We realize if you weren't born in a good family or in a healthy family, or if you were not loved right, we take that personally.
Yes.
So at 5 years old, you realize your family system. Mine and my family was, I don't belong here. Mm-hmm. Right. My mother, I was an accident. My mother hated being pregnant with me. I came into the world like with the feeling in my bones, in utero and out the utero, out the uterus. I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm a mistake.
Yeah.
Right now, is that true? I might have been a mistake, but that's not really. That's sort of a conclusion to my feelings, right? So if you weren't loved right, you were neglected, abandoned, or abused. Some people have all 3 plus sexual abuse, right? We take that personally. I must be a real terrible person in order for my parents to treat me so poorly, right? We take that personally. And now, if you think you're broken, if you think you're not lovable, if you think you're not worthy of love, if you think that you don't belong here, what we do, because it becomes the first program in our brains, like a computer hard drive, is the first program. It now becomes the functioning program. You could put some updates and updates and updates, the basics still in line. 5 years old, it's tragic, right? If you feel like you're not worthy as a woman, you will then continue to prove that by finding men that are unworthy, that will make you feel unworthy, and go, see?
Yep.
See, I was right. See, this is who I am. See, I'm not worthy. See, I'm not lovable. See, for me, I don't belong here. I would find myself in a situation where I did not belong in this group, that setting, that place, trying to force myself in places because I had to prove that point. But it's all subconscious. It's all subliminal. It's a terrible design, right? So as human, what I say, and it's fun because when you understand it, you can decode it. That's the work that I do for release, right? Release trauma. We decode it, take it off your nervous system, and now you can actually be a choice as opposed to trying to prove this thing that you believe that was something that was just a conclusion.
Right.
And that's what our brains does, right? Like it does that with everything. It grabs onto something and goes and confirms it in the world. The same way if you buy a red Tesla, all of a sudden you see them everywhere. Yeah. Because it's now in your consciousness, right? So the same with this. I'm not worthy. It comes the rest of your life proving you're not worthy. So that's one of the things that needs to be undone. So some people get in relationships with people they shouldn't because they're trying to prove a point, and it's a shit show, excuse my French, all the way through. The second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, right? And it never stops because you're not coming from you haven't cleaned up the baggage.
Right.
So the rest of it is people that have less trauma tend to be able to work it out, tend to be able to negotiate it, talk about it. When you do this, makes you feel like this. You know, my dad used to do this. Please don't. Right? But if it's too big, it just becomes a knee-jerk kind of fight, reaction. I can't believe, don't ever, right? And if you're going to wave your fingers, in front of a warrior, which is male, you're going to lose.
Right.
You're going to lose, right? You're not going to win. And so he's either going to cower completely and you're going to lose respect for him, or he's going to push back, even if you're right, because how dare you attack me? Like you attack a warrior, you become the thing he's defending himself from. Mm-hmm. He's, as much as we naturally provide and protect, if you attack me, I have to protect myself from you, honey, and you're not going to like it. Mm-hmm. The other way is I'm going to fold like a little girl and you're going to completely lose respect for me. Both are terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, this is why my Manglish comes in. How do you adjust? How do you ask for correction? How you ask for an explanation often, because you take everything personally and you don't, because you assume what he meant or didn't mean or said or didn't say. Mm-hmm. I learned this years ago that I could hurt my wife's feelings. Byron, stay with me. You won't believe it. I could hurt my wife's feelings by not saying anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I found that insane when I first learned this. Now, I understand if I say something off, she goes, right? And even if I don't know that I'm saying something off because I'm not a girl, right? Often the tone has more meaning than the words. That's what we talked about earlier, right? It's not what you said, it's the way you said it. I don't know what that means. I listen to the words that I'm saying. Forget the way I said it. Of course, I'm irritated because I'm irritated. So you hear irritation, but forget the irritation that shuts you down. Listen to the words. Anyway, so this is, again, a big disconnect between us. So we upset you all the time, and we hurt your feelings all the time. We don't know why or how. It's not what I meant. It's not what I said, right? And on the other side, right, so you disrespect us all the time. We don't know, because what disrespects us doesn't disrespect you. So we keep triggering each other. How do we manage this, right? How do we fix this? When I learned that my wife has big brown eyes, and when she gets her feelings hurt, there's a veil that comes over, and I lose her. Right? Now, eyes go down, her energy collapses, but she's never been the girl to attack me, to come after me, right? She just gets gets sad. I saw this a lot before I learned this material, thinking, I wonder what happened. I know somebody was mean to her at work. I wonder if somebody flipped her off in traffic, because I don't have any intention of hurting her. Why would I want to hurt, right? Like when she's not good, I'm not good, right? So, but to her, right? So when I understand that I hurt my wife's feelings all the time, but I don't know I'm doing it. But to her, it's so obvious that you don't say that, or you do say that you do that, or you don't do that, right? This is where it has to be cleaned up, and that's what most of us don't do. If you don't tell me that I screwed up, even if it's little, it kind of makes you go, what a jerk, right? And you walk away for a half hour, take a walk, take a bath, and you come back and you're good, right? Most of you ladies will do this. You're like, you walk away. Okay, no big deal. Just someone let that go, because you know if you bring it up, it'll start some shit, right?
Right.
Often, because you're gonna go with your fingers, and or when you did this, right, and so there's accusatory, or I'm gonna fix you, and you need to right. That doesn't work. So what happened is, every time you bring something up, most of the time, not understanding the respect language, that when you decide to go after, I'm gonna finally tell him. It doesn't work. So you will go, you get upset, you walk away, you come back, you feel good, right? Because it's about your feelings drive everything. So now you were upset, you walk away, you come back, and then you look at him, and you go, But you don't bring it up.
Yep.
Because it might start some shit.
Yep.
So you go, I'm just going to forget about it. It's not a big deal. I feel better now. But you don't forget about it.
That was a lot.
Yeah, I had to process. I had to process some.
Yeah.
I had to process some. While, I agree with a lot, but sometimes, especially as a woman, we have to stop and realize that it's not personal.
Right.
And recognize when we see ourselves in things. So.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing. I'm being a big girl.
So I knew going into this was going to be a two-parter. So we're going to end this episode right here, and y'all tune in next week for the next episode, and we're going to finish this up with Mr. Andre. Remember, don't ask us. Say your questions for him. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Beyond I Do podcast.
Please make sure to like this episode and also subscribe to our podcast. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Beyond I Do podcast.
And until next time, we will holler at y'all.